All right, we'll begin the meeting. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Okay, no changes. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Second.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to comment on thanking Tony for going after some grants and finding some opportunities for us. It's nice when they're out there and that we are capitalizing on getting some matching funds for some of our projects.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Any additional comments? Jeff, please pull the board.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
Commissioner Abzey,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye, motion carries. On to the regular agenda, we have the recognition of audience public comments. It looks like as of now, we do have 2 individuals signed up to speak here tonight. So I'm going to sort of read a little bit of our protocol here for the speakers this evening. So we will hear comments from the public. We ask that each speaker who signed up to address the board, please come up to the lectern here, use the microphone. Please state your name and your address for the record. We would ask that speakers refrain from using this forum to criticize or complain about a specific employee by name. The board is interested in your comments and will listen carefully, but is not obligated to respond or debate issues in this forum. Should you desire a written response to a specific question, you may request it. This evening, each speaker will be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes, and I will time the individuals on my watch. So just heads up, I'll kind of give you a little bit. 3 minutes is up. As a point of order, if any speaker wishes to talk later in the agenda, comments are limited only to the agenda item at hand, and speakers must first be recognized by the president. Otherwise, the speaker may be ruled out of order and additional measures may be taken. The Fargo Park Board president, however, does not have to engage in dialogue with the additional speakers. We ask that you respect this request and act accordingly. So with that, Mr. John Nelson, if you'd like to come up and provide your comments, please.
Yeah. Test. There we go. Good evening. My name is John Nelson. I'm the president of the Edgewood Men's Club. I'm also part of the great mowing crew at Edgewood as well. First, I'd like to thank you for your service to our community. As a longtime school administrator, I certainly understand the pressures that you face. Last week, Edgewood members were referred to as being very passionate. I'd like to say thank you. We are, and for good reason. Edgewood has been voted the best golf course in the Fargo Moorhead area, and we want to make sure that doesn't change. Within the PGA, the position of golf manager designates that a member is working with golf equipment. The golf department manager at Dick's Sporting Goods was given to me as an example. Unfortunately, it is also stated to me that this is not considered much of a resume builder for a golf professional. Our current professionals are much more than managers. A PGA professional must complete courses in teaching, coaching, golf operations, business management, equipment technology, sports science, and marketing. The next few years at Edgewood will be very eventful. In 2026, Edgewood will be celebrating 100 years. And also an extensive irrigation project is in the planning stages. We need a golf professional to help lead these projects and build an even better Edgewood for the next 100 years. I encourage you to communicate, collaborate, and problem solve with our existing pros and assistants. They add great value to our golf courses and to our community. We need to do everything possible to make sure we keep them. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. Looks like we have Henry Werlinger, hopefully. Yeah, please, if you can come on up and make sure on the microphone there's going to be a button on the right-hand side. Make sure you press that. There should be right on the, looks like a little person on there. Thanks, Carolyn.
Thank you. Thank you guys for letting me get a chance to come up here and speak before you. My name is Larry Werlinger. I live at 6282 14th Street South in Fargo. I'm a passionate golfer, been at Rose Creek for many, many years. And I come to speak in behalf of all my friends that golf at Rose Creek and being a senior citizen as well. I'm passionate about it. We have a great course. Fargo has great courses. My question, again, there's be some questions I'll have. I'll let you guys choose to answer them now, later, or whatever, but I'll make some comments as well. One of the questions is, where did the idea come up that Fargo needs a city golf manager? The golf courses have been running self-sufficient for many, many years. They're one of the most profitable venues that the Park District has. We're going to add a salary that's going to be somewhere in that six-figure number. Why? I'd assume the Park District business director would be the one looking over the golf pros that are managing these courses, not having somebody, a double layer, managing the managers. And question two is, why does Fargo Park District want to get in the clothing business? We have enough clothing stores. We have enough at Shields, Osted's, online, Amazon, everything. So why does Fargo think it needs to be in the clothing business? No logic reason for it. That revenue that generated for the golf pros was helping keep them here in Fargo versus looking for other opportunities. The revenue, in addition to the salaries that they get paid, which isn't that much, the extra revenue from their cart rentals and the clothing sales are theirs that help keep them from looking. This is what promoted Fargo to be one of the top places to play golf in. That's why you look at the courses. Don't ruin it by adding extra layers of management that's not needed. Oversight, fine. But we lost a great guy, Greg, at Edgewood. Who can manage in a flood like Greg can? He was chosen not to be one of the members here or chosen for the job. Anybody, if there's a flood, it'd be like our mayor. He knew how to manage Fargo flood. Greg knows how to manage Edgewood. I'm afraid you guys you're taking this in the wrong direction. And I want to see our PGA professionals be there, teach our kids, and have respect, because the PGAs have respects from the kids. If you have somebody teaching that's not a PGA, they don't get the respect. So I urge you to consider the possibility of making some changes, making some revisions, because I don't feel that Fargo, one, needs to be in the retail business, and it needs to keep our PGA professionals. Thank you guys for your time and listening.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak this evening in the audience? All right. Seeing none and hearing none, then we will move on to item number 2, the director's report. Susan.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just have a few updates for you tonight. The first one is just on our youth pond hockey that happened last weekend. This marked the 5th annual Pond Hockey Day. We had 23 youth teams that gathered at Lindenwood Park. The strong turnout, especially considering we had to cancel the event last year just due to weather conditions. This is an annual event that we have that really celebrates hockey, the joy of hockey, and really gives our young players just a time to be outdoors and have fun with the game and get away from a little more of the competitive competition. So I really want to thank everyone that helped put this event together. Again, it takes an army when putting all these different events together. So our events team, as usual, does a fantastic job. Our parks team, and certainly our concessions crew. So the second update is the Frostival event. Again, this is something that happens every year here in the community. It's hosted by the CVB and our local park districts. Some of the events that were held by the park district, we hosted, the winter birding event at Forest Hills Park, the cardboard sled race, s'mores and mores at some of our parks, and then the youth Pond Hockey Day that I talked about. Another exciting program that we're starting through our recreation team is the SAIL program. It started last week, and SAIL stands for Stay Active and Independent for Life. It's a research-based fall prevention program really designed for people ages 55 and older. It's a free program and takes place every Monday and Wednesday and Friday mornings here at the Sports Center. And for the first week of programming, we had 50 plus participants, which was a really fantastic turnout for a first-time program. And 40 of these participants have attended multiple dates through the program. So a new program that we just added this last year. And then just the last update, next week, there will be several Park District staff that will be heading to Bismarck for the local government capital connection. This is something that happens yearly. It's replacing, it was formerly called kind of that Parks Day at the Capitol. I will be attending. Brock Leitz and some of our finance team will be there along with Craig Buer. He'll be there representing the foundation as they will be talking about the charitable gaming piece that we'll be moving forward at some of our facilities. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any other questions, but those are the only updates I have tonight.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Any questions? All right, hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3. We've got the 2025 Park District project updates, Tyler Kirschner and Tony Schmidt. Or just Tony. Oh, okay. Thank you. Tony Schmidt.
Microphone.
Good evening, commissioners. It's my pleasure to be here to give you an update, a brief update on our 2025 capital projects, which I like to call, reinvestment into our parks and existing facilities. So item 1, Petsy Soccer Complex. We have a siding project for the concessions and maintenance building and clubhouse up there at the complex. Bids were opened last week. They came in favorably, but we'll present that information to the planning committee meeting next Wednesday, February 19th. The second item up there, Anderson Softball Complex. We're still creating the specifications and finalizing them. We'll advertise it for bid next week, and with a bid opening date of March 10th. So that project consists of 4 dugout replacements on 2 of the softball fields. So if you recall, the last 2 years, the other 2 softball fields, we updated the dugouts. We got rid of the old style wooden sides and got chain link dugouts with steel roofs. So that project will be bid out here shortly. And then that complex will be modernized. All 8 diamonds will have modern dugouts, going away from the old wood style like I alluded to. Davies Pool resurfacing project. We also had a bid opening last week. We received 3 bids. At first glance, they did come in favorably. Again, that's another project we'll present at the February 19th Planning Committee meeting. And then the 4th item, Michelson Field, the new updated field lighting project. That bid opening is occurring here in a few weeks, and we'll update you at that time when we get the bid results. So that most likely will come at the March Planning Committee meeting and then hopefully approved in April. Any questions on those first 4 projects? Okay. Next slide. The Rose Creek Driving Range project bids were also open last week. We had a very busy week opening bids last week, and we're still evaluating the bid results on that. More information to come next week. Quartz Plus siding project, the specifications are still being developed for that. We don't have a bid timeline to date. The Theraldson Little League Shade Shelter Replacement Project, that bid specifications are being finalized. We'll open bids in March. So if you recall what that consists of, we had 2 old, essentially picnic shelters that people use for shade in that facility. We removed them last fall and poured the concrete for the new shelters. So we're hopefully we can get those installed, by Memorial Day before the season really kicks off. More to come once we do the bids, but that'll be a nice update to that facility. And then Fargo South High pool mechanical replacement. So this is essentially everything but the heaters and filters will be replaced in the mechanical room for the south pool. It'll be a nice reinvestment in that facility. Essentially, it's replacing all 6 pumps, baskets, filters, and then there'll be some electrical upgrades to get us up to code. But that'll be a nice project. We'll have more information to come in the following months. So, any questions on those 4 projects?
Well, just clarify earlier. So the Thurleton Little League. So I can think of the one is between the first base and third base, right? Like, and it's got a couple a picnic table or 2 underneath it, right?
Yep. So there was 2 existing shelters. They're essentially were in the middle of the complex, east and
Yeah.
west of the concession building.
Yeah.
So these will go not in the exact location, but very, very close. We just straightened out the walkways for the concrete and added accessible pathways. So these new shelters will be 20 by 20 in size, and we'll be able to put probably 4 picnic tables under each one. So it'll be a nice improvement over what was.
These are
there.
permanent with permanent roofs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
They're not-
They're
they're not
metal. I should have alluded. They're metal roofs. They
Got
won't
it.
be the fabric kind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So of the bids we've opened so far, are we happy that are people bidding? Are we getting multiple bids, low or where costs are they coming? I'm curious where construction
Yeah.
costs are going.
So the 3 projects that we opened last week. So Davies Pool, we got three bidders, and the project came in very favorably. We'll review that information next week. We also received 3 bids for Pepsi Soccer Complex, and I believe received 4 for Rose Creek. So yeah, people are bidding. Everything looks, pretty good right now within the budget. So we're pretty preliminary with some of this right now. So
So on the South High Pool project, is that pretty much a cut and paste where you just be able to pull the existing infrastructure out and put the new stuff in, or is it more invasive?
So there's 5 pumps there's a pit. It's actually not just a mechanical room. It's kind of coincides with the indoor pool also, but yeah, essentially climb down in the pit, replace all 5 pumps and strainer baskets, but all the piping needs to be replaced too. And then the electrical, the starters is what they call them for the pumps for the pool will need to be replaced. But then the main pump is actually upstairs in the facility, and that'll be replaced too. And then valves too. So it's everything but without getting into detail, filters and heaters of that facility. Well, then I'm going to turn the rest over to Tyler because he needs his chance to talk.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Commissioners. So my half, first project that I'm going to talk about is the 2025 capital concrete improvement projects. You can see a big list of the projects. This is pretty typical for us. Annually, we do about $1.2 to $1.5 million in concrete repairs and asphalt repairs per year. On this one, we did have 4 qualified bidders, very favorable numbers. Again, we'll bring that to the planning meeting in February. I believe that is on the 19th, so more to come on that. What you'll see is of these, we've kind of split the project into 2, an early kind of portion and then a late portion, so to speak, to help time out with some of the scheduling things from our activities. So this year we did a really good job of coordinating with all departments to try to minimize as much disturbance as we can to the park. So unfortunately, when the public is making hay, we're kind of making hay trying to get things done as well too. So be sure to look for kind of more announcements in the future. We're going to try to unwrap some interactive maps and things like that to help better understand where the construction is going to be in these parks. So a little bit of a teaser there for the future. So next slide, please. 2025 playground projects. This year we focused on Roll Farms, Thurleton Little League, and Fox Run Park. We just had our evaluation process on this. We'll be bringing our recommendations again to the planning meeting in February. We had 7 bidders. Of those, we were only able to open 4 due to bidding requirements, getting contractor's license and bid bonds, things like that. Some of the finer points. Something specifically special for this for me, for the first time ever, we're going to be bringing this to the public. So the public, we will be able to review 2 designs and then choose color options. So something that I know Susan, Dave, and I, we've been talking a lot about, and bringing Tony on board as well. So something to look forward to. I did note that in that public session right now, we're targeting March 16th through March 30th. So stay tuned for that. So next slide, please. Last three projects that I have for tonight: Sports Center. As you can see, we opened phase 2. We're continuing to work through warranty work with the contractor, with McGough and subs. Right now, we're tracking anywhere from 50 to 100 punch list items. Could be anywhere from some HVAC things to just paint touch-ups on the wall. We are still working to fully commission more so the HVAC and get the building kind of dialed in. This summer, you will see work continuing on the north side, all exterior work. So just be cognizant of that in the future. So just getting grass, getting the landscape established, and then just some cleanup stuff. On the pool, construction continues. They're actually probably, I didn't get a chance to drive out there today, but they are working. You can see some tents. They're continuing to work through, push through the winter to keep for that hard push kind of coming this spring. So we are going to be looking to some help for some weather, but we're still tracking towards that June opening. And then the last one I have, this one's a really cool project, Yunker Farm. Pretty much there. The only thing we really have left on that one is some install some lighting, some interactive lighting, so we can get out there and get people to be able to use it kind of in the dark parts of the year. And then the last thing we'd have to do is just get the grass established before we open it up. So that's all I have for tonight. I'd be welcome for any questions. We're working hard.
I don't have a project question. It's more of a finance question for Brock. So our capital projects come out of our general funds, right? They don't reflect in our individual budgets, say our pool budget or our facilities budget or our golf course budget. Is that correct?
Commissioner Rosted, it's a combination. So we do have a capital improvement process and some capital improvement funds that we use for some of our larger projects. We also have embedded in the operational maintenance budget, which Tony and his team oversee, some of the regular annual maintenance types of things. And depending on if those are new or where they've been on a cycle, they may in fact reflect in those departmental budgets. So it's really a combination of both.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a comment that I'm very excited for the community interactive piece for the parks. Growing up in one of the local neighborhoods, I would have loved to have a say in what comes and goes in the park in my neighborhood. So excited to see what comes from it.
Another question I had is, do we know, will that be kind of centered around the neighborhoods around those playgrounds and parks, or is that going to be more community-wide input, or is that not determined yet?
Not determined yet.
Okay.
I'll work with Carolyn and Susan on that, how far we want that net to cast out. So
Got it. Cool. Okay. Any other questions for?
I just wanted to add real quick. So we are, as part of our strategic plan, with our operational work plan, as we're implementing that strategic plan, is we do have two initiatives centered around community engagement. And one of them is what Tyler is referring to, is putting together a consistent plan for how we engage with the community for different types of projects. So playgrounds would be a good example. So that's something that we're currently working on, and we hope to have that plan in place by March.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you. Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Tony. All right, item 4 on the agenda, Governance Committee update. So we had 4 items on our agenda for the meeting. We reviewed the governance annual work plan, the monitoring report. So I think this is our first sort of full year in this process. So in January, we were essentially supposed to review OE1, emergency succession, and OE5, asset protection. And so sort of retroactively, you should all have those in your inbox, your email inbox. And Carmen has asked for our feedback from the board by February 21st. So please make sure you fill those out and send them back to Carmen. So then going forward in the February governance meeting, we'll look at GP8, and kind of from here on out, we should be able to sort of have that cadence in that meeting is when we'll have the commissioners fill those out, and then we'll review those in that specific meeting. So we're kind of continuing to get ourselves in the direction there. We reviewed and discussed the park ordinance. So I know these have not been updated since 2005. I think from the discussion in the meeting, I think we're with kind of the things going on right now. We're going to sort of take a look at those again sometime. I think it was this summer. We'll kind of revisit that. So we'll take it off. My thought was keep it on the agenda to kind of force us to look at it. And I think we'll kind of put it back on the agenda sometime this summer and then start revisiting that, because we want to make sure our staff are going to have to do a lot of homework to look at this and making sure we're looking at what the city is doing and making sure we're in alignment there. The other discussion we had is the park board gold cards. So kind of taking a look at, as commissioners, we get sort of the gold card for certain things as part of compensation package. And I think we're going to take a look at sort of how that's structured. I know Commissioner Dawson has been doing a lot of legwork, reaching out to previous commissioners to kind of gauge sort of usage levels and things like that. So I think the goal with that will be to come up with sort of a more cohesive plan and what that looks like, and for current and or past commissioners as well. And then we had an update from Brock, the legislative update. So on the sort of various bills that are going through the legislature, what we're looking at, what we're tracking. And of course we have as Susan mentioned, whatever it's called now, used to be the Park Stay at the Capitol. Now I think it's Civic Day or civic entities at the Capitol.
Local government,
Local
capital
government
connection.
Thank you. Local government capital connection used to be Park Stay. And if commissioners want to attend that as well, should they just reach out to you? Would that be if commissioners are interested?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that was the end of the governance committee meeting. Any questions on the governance committee meeting? Perfect. All right. We'll move on to item 5. We've got the planning committee update. Commissioner Dawson was not at the committee meeting, so I'll just kind of cover that quickly. We went over the application for the Garrison Diversion Conservancy District Recreation Grant, which was in our consent agenda, and we did go over the 2024 audit engagement letter and reviewed that as well. And I believe that was the extent of that formal agenda, unless I'm missing something. Commissioner Deutsch, anything?
No, just, like you said, we had to get a permission letter put forth by the district to support Tony in his quest to submit Garrison Diversion grant again will be the 3rd year in a row, and it's a matching funds grant where the district has to, but we got 2 playgrounds the previous 2 years, and we got a different project that we're looking at this year. So as Vicki said earlier, kudos to Tony for looking for grant opportunities.
Okay. That's the planning committee update. Having concluded the regular agenda, we'll hereby adjourn the meeting.